if you're someone who doesn't have a dad like me. I had to learn that myself. Hopefully this YouTube video is helpful. Click over to budgetvapors.com to get some of my most favorite flavors in the entire industry for 15% off using my promo code Gabe sent ya. When you use my promo code over on Budget Vapors, you can get 120 milliliters of premium e-liquid for just $8.49. Also available on budgetvapors.com is my juice line. The Light Designs liquid line is available in 60 and 120 milliliter bottles. Both my juice line and the many delicious Budget Vapors flavors are developed in a high quality lab down in Florida. When you pick up my juice line or use my promo code, it really helps keep the Light Designs program going, so thank you all so much for helping support the channel. I really appreciate it. Hey everybody, it's your boy Gabe, and today I am going to be kind of recreating a video that I saw many years ago that helps me out literally every day. I ride a motorcycle as my primary form of transportation, and I saw this one tutorial many years ago from this guy in Japan who broke it down really easy on how to ride a bike. And I'm gonna kind of recreate this because I get asked this pretty frequently. So I'm going to explain just basic things like clutch and brake and stuff like that. And then also I am going to explain counter steering. Everybody hears counter steering, you know, counter steering this, counter steering that, and you turn the bars left to go right and right to go left, and that's very confusing. So we have this little spot of parking lot right here, so I'm going to do my best to explain it because I think I have an easier way to actually explain counter steering than most tutorials out there. So this is my 2012 CBR 250RA. I've had this bike for a little while. This is my fifth or sixth motorcycle that I have owned, and I've been riding every single day of my life for the past year. So I have quite a few thousand miles under my belt, and I come from a motorcycle family. Although I just started riding my own bikes last year, I've been around bikes since I was a little kid. My family business is a motorcycle shop, so I've grown up with motorcycles. I know them pretty well. So let's see, on your left hand foot side, this is your foot peg, obviously, and your gear selector. On traditional motorcycles, you go one click down for first gear, up one for second gear. Now, in between first and second gear is a blank spot called neutral, like a manual transmission car. On the other side, this is your rear brake. So your rear brake is controlled with your right foot. And you can see my rear brake caliper right here. That's controlled with my right foot. I do a lot of city driving, and I hardly ever use my rear brake, although I probably should. On your left hand, you have your clutch, which you press in just like this. This is just like a foot clutch you would have on in a car or a truck. Here is my low beam and high beam. Here's my turn signal, so I turn it one way, and then I click it in to turn it off, or I slide it back to the center. And then here is my horn. On my right side, this is my kill switch right here, my engine start-stop switch, and my starter. So the bike is in neutral right now. I turn on the key, turn on the start switch, start the bike. That's it. Oh yeah, also, most importantly, my throttle's over here. So this one actually spins. And you pull this back towards you to accelerate, and then push it forward to not. Oh, and this is my front brake. Okay, so I have my kickstand up. You always want to put your kickstand up if you're going to put it into gear, because if you try and put it in gear with your kickstand down, let me put my kickstand down. Okay, I try to put it in gear, and it's going to die. See, it's a like safety feature to make sure you don't do that, so you're not driving around with the kickstand down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold in the clutch just like this, and then click it down into first gear, and then now my neutral light comes off on the dashboard, and then I'm in first gear. So this bike is a single cylinder, so it's pretty easy to work with. It's a very light bike. It weighs about a little over 200 pounds. I think a good way to learn how to manipulate a clutch, especially in traffic, is have one foot down, put it in first gear, and then give it just a little bit of a push with my foot, right? Maybe even start on a very small hill. you know, like a hill start, like when you're learning how to drive a manual transmission car. Just give it a little bit of a push with your foot. I'm literally not even registering 1 mile an hour, and then slowly let out the clutch. I didn't even use any throttle there. Now we're in first gear. We're just, the bike's running itself. We're in first gear now. We went down that tiny little hill. It's like a parking lot hill, so rain doesn't pull up. Like, that's not even a hill. All right, so I would practice that a few times. Like, see, I'm just waddling the bike along. Okay, here we go. Line back up with the hill. Here we go. I got my foot on here in case anything goes wrong. I got 1 foot down, and then I'm just kind of letting out the clutch slowly. You see my hand, it just kind of let it out slowly. If you let it out too fast, the bike's going to stall. But if you let it out slowly and kind of feel, you'll feel where the bike kind of engages. You'll feel an engagement point. You'll hear the bike kind of start to catch. That part is kind of hard to explain. That's more of a feeling type thing, but you can hear the bike at least where it starts to engage. So here we are. We'll do it one more time. I'm up at the top of this little hill. Just give it a little push, get her moving, and then I'm letting it out slowly. There we go. The bike's kind of doing its own thing now. Now I can give it a little throttle. Second gear. There we go. Good stuff. See, I'm not even using my rear brake. I never use my rear brake. I should. You should always use your rear brake and your front brake. Be safe. Go to motorcycle classes. Don't be like me. But keep watching this video because I need the ad revenue. Also, click over to Budget Vapors and help support the channel. Okay, so now we're going to give it a little throttle. We're going to do it without moving. So I'm in first gear here. I'm going to give it just a tiny bit of throttle. All right, I'm going to put it back into neutral to kind of give you an example of how much throttle. At least for my particular bike, you just give it just a little bit. So there we go, just like that. So this is the part that, if you know how to drive a manual transmission car or truck, this is the part that it becomes really helpful, because it's the exact same thing. It's just the exact same way you would have a car or truck. It's just a different layout. So I'm in first gear right here, just giving a little throttle, let it out. Okay, and that's a pretty slow let out. You can definitely let it out a lot faster if you want to be a hot boy. You know, and you can let it out even faster than that. But just know, the faster you let out the clutch, the more aggressive the launch is going to be, and you kind of need to match your throttle with that. So if I let the clutch out really fast, it's going to stall the bike if I don't have a similar input of throttle. So your throttle input and your clutch exput need to be a similar kind of balancing act. They all work together. Okay, so now you're going, you have a little bit of speed going, and now it's time to shift gears. The red line on my particular bike, because my bike is a street bike, is 11,000 RPM. So that's you know, if you're going to be going quick, you're going to be doing like a pull or something. The shift point, you'll kind of feel where the engine wants it to shift given the application, especially on a modern motorcycle. So I'm going to be going here, get a little bit of speed going here, and second gear, just like that. So how that works, what I'm doing there is I'm going to whatever rev range for your particular motorcycle feels appropriate to shift into the next gear, because you want everything to be nice and smooth. You don't want to be under rev line and be clunky, and all that kind of stuff comes with time and experience and kind of learning the bike, because every motorcycle is different. So what I'm doing to get from first gear to second gear is I am down in first gear, right, all the way down, and then I'm clicking up a full click with my foot, and I'm pushing in the clutch, letting off the throttle, then letting off the clutch, and then pushing back on the gas. So it's the exact same thing as shifting a manual transmission car or truck. Like I said before, it's all the same. It's just a little different. So here we go, first gear, second gear. Okay, and then so I'm letting off this throttle, and I did that kind of very, very relaxed. So I'm like barely on the throttle right now. I'm on maybe 20%, not even 15% of throttle right here. So I go up, clutch in, I'm off the gas, clicked it up, and then let the clutch out and get back on the gas. We'll just do that one more time. So here we go, first gear, off the gas, off the clutch, back on the gas. All right. If you're someone who doesn't have a dad like me, I had to learn that myself. Hopefully this YouTube video is helpful. And then that works for all the gears all the way up. So I have a 6-speed transmission, all the gears all work the same. Now let's say you're in second gear and you want to come back down to first gear. There's a bit of a rhythm to do that properly. Downshifting has a little bit of a rhythm. Obviously you can just push in the clutch and then you click it down into first gear. So I was in second gear right there. I'm actually going to go over here so I have a little bit more room. Alright, here we go. So we're going to be in second gear like this. We're just going along. Now I'm going to push in the clutch, give a little bit of a rev, and then go down to first gear. That's called Rev-Matching. And what Rev-Matching means is you are changing gears while matching the amount of RPMs that the engine was doing so it's not so jerky. In a parking lot application, this is a little bit tricky to show you properly. We can probably go out to the street. Oh, this is a good area. Okay, so I'm in second gear right now. I'm actually going to do this third to second. So I'm in third gear right now. Oh, we got some traffic. We're slowing down. Clutch in, give it a little burp of the throttle. Now I'm in second gear. And it was very, very smooth. Very smooth. So now we're in second gear right now. We're going to go up, third gear. Oh no, we got to slow down for some reason. Clutch in, burp of the throttle, down to second gear. Really easy. Third gear. Oh no, there's a hazard in the road. Second gear. First gear. Just like that. So it comes with practice of a rhythm. All you're doing is clutching in, just like that. A little burp of the throttle, let it out. So wherever the RPMs were beforehand. That part takes a little bit of practice and can be a little bit tricky to master, but you can get it. Second gear. Third gear. Okay, we're going around this bend. Downshift. Upshift. Brakes on. Downshift. Downshift. Now we're back in first gear. Just like that. That takes time. Don't beat yourself up if you don't get that your first time. But just practice in a parking lot. Practice when you have spare time and you'll get it. Counter steering, all it means is over a certain speed, a certain mile per hour, kilometer. Over a certain mile per hour or kilometer per hour, the physics of a motorcycle changes. I think it's 7 or 10 miles per hour, the physics of a motorcycle actually changes. You can feel this on a bicycle if you ride a bicycle quickly. And so what that means is at slow speeds, right, so we're going 4 miles an hour. If I turn the handlebars left, we're turning left. If I turn the handlebars right, we're turning right, okay? Here we are, we're turning right. Oh, it made me dizzy. An interesting way that this got explained to me from this dude from Japan that I essentially learned the basics from watching his videos is just think of your right hand, right? Your throttle hand. If you pull your throttle hand towards you, the bike's going to want to lean over to the left because it's adjusting for the physics, so it's going to start going this way. If you push your hand forward, it's going to start going to the right because it's adjusting for the physics. And you can feel it. It's not just like, oh, I turned the wheel this way and then now I'm going this way. How that means is you turn the wheel this way and then the bike starts leaning. Like you can feel the top side of the bike start leaning, and everything starts going that way, like drifting over that way. So let's see if we have some room to get some speeds here. So if I see that right there, so I'm doing 15 miles, 14, 15 miles an hour. I'm going to push the bars to the left or push it forward, and my bike is going to go to the right. See that? That was pretty aggressive. You would never, in most applications, turn the bar that much, but trying to be dramatic so you can see. Okay, so this is a really aggressive hill. This is actually very steep hill. I'm not sure how steep it looks on video, but this is a pretty steep hill. So what you do is you kind of hold your foot on the rear brake. So I'm not on the front brake right now, and this is what they teach you in the MSF course, I think. I don't know. So clutch in, I'm in first gear, and then you kind of build up your RPMs a little bit, and you start normal, just like that. But that will keep you from rolling backwards. You probably are going to have to use a little bit more throttle than you normally would. So we're going down a big hill right now, okay? I'm in neutral. I can either coast down this whole big hill, or I can put it into gear. Actually, I want to see how fast I can go just on. It's 35 miles an hour, and I just hit my brake because I'm going too fast, just rolling. This is a really steep hill. Alright, so I'm on a hill, I'm rolling, I'm in neutral, and I want to go into a gear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down, I'm going to stop so I can explain. I'm going to hold down my clutch, okay, get my foot in the upshift position, not the downshift position. I could slow all the way down, you know, coasting to go slow enough to get into first gear, or I could rev match into second right away. Or I wouldn't recommend going any faster than what second gear can handle, so I'm in second, and then I let it out like that. Okay, we'll do that again. So I'm coasting, I clutch in, second gear. There we go. And I just kind of give it a little gas. That one takes a little time, and I wouldn't recommend going any faster than second gear. I wouldn't recommend going any faster than what second gear can handle, because it's going to be tricky to, I guess you can keep going up whatever gear you want, but if you don't get that right, your bike's going to freak out, and it's going to stall, and it's going to buck you off. So let's say I was only going the top end of how fast first gear can handle, and then I shifted it into third gear and tried to like hill bonk off third gear. The bike's going to buck, and it's going to stall, and I'm going to fall off. It's not going to be fun. Here's something fun about California that you may not know. The peacocks. Okay, in this part of California, there are peacocks everywhere. So I actually live not too far from here. I don't live in this beautiful neighborhood. I wish I did. But we have peacocks and parrots in our neighborhood all over the place. Apparently, in the 50s or 60s, some actress let a bunch of peacocks out into the wild here. Do you hear them? They're beautiful. They make crazy sounds. But apparently some actress let a bunch of peacocks and parrots out into the wild during the 50s or 60s to make the area more beautiful, I guess. And so they're invasive birds, and nothing eats them. So they just kind of roam around the streets. Seriously, I'm not kidding. In my girlfriend's neighborhood, she has a lot of parrots. And you'll be trying to sleep, and there'll be nothing but parrots screaming. And in my neighborhood, because I live actually closer to here, I have a lot of these peacocks. So I see peacocks all over the place. Just a fun little fact about this area that you may not have known about.